This is the intro song. This is the intro song. This is the intro song. Movie Mania. This is the intro song. This is the intro song. This is the intro song. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Get it? That's from Jaws.
Welcome back to another episode of In the Jungle. I'm your host, Theodore Smithwick, and we have some wonderful things coming up for you all tonight. We have lots of other funny things that you can watch, but we have something pretty important that we need to talk about. Parking fraud. A parking attendant in San Diego has gone missing. Kind of. The man just didn't show up for work one day, after working 360 days a year for the last 26 years as the parking attendant at the San Diego Zoo. Now, parking at the San Diego Zoo has remained at a standard $5 a day rate since he first took over when the zoo expanded its parking lot in 1989. It's estimated that the man walked away with nearly $7 million. Now, you may be wondering, how the hell could this have happened? Well, after some closer investigation, it looks like in October of 1989, there was some confusing wording in a city council document regarding who was responsible for manning the parking booth. The city of San Diego thought the zoo would provide an attendant, while the zoo was under the impression it would be a city contractor. One opportunistic son of a gun saw an opportunity and just showed up when the parking lot opened and started charging everyone $5. He kept this ruse up for 26 years, because apparently San Diego doesn't care enough about its parking facilities to do its due diligence. This man actually claimed his job as a volunteer hobby on his taxes and used his wife's income to evade the IRS for nearly 3 decades. Now, despite our best efforts, we could not track down this guy's real name because while San Diego can't be bothered to make sure someone actually works for them, you can be damn sure they will cover it up with the intelligence and skill of a Cold War spy if it gets out. On a completely unrelated note, the movie awards are happening tonight, and while I'm sure there were some parking issues there don't seem to be any issues going on with the ceremony itself. We now have an opportunity to cut into the awards right now as they are about to announce the coveted Best Actor Award.
Welcome back to the Movie Awards Ceremony 2015. I'm Glenda Watson. Our next presenter is the epitome of diversity in film, David Oyelowo. He broke onto the scene with his breakout role as Martin Luther, the King, in the film Salmonella. Ladies and gentlemen, Protestant Reformation leader Martin Luther.
Thank you for your diverse introduction to me. I hope you know that as a woman, you are also a key part in the diversity of our world. During my role as Martin Luther King Jr. in the film Selma, I pushed myself to the limit of my act to really define the pain and trauma of being black in a place that didn't want you to be black. Now, with that all being said, it's time to give an award to the person who was pretending the best for money. The best award for Best Acting goes to Joseph Smith.
Wow, this is truly amazing, you know. Growing up on the streets of the suburbs of Beverly Hills can be a little rough sometimes, you know. The standards of my preparatory school were just so high. And money could be a bit tight sometimes, you know. My mother would have to work 10, sometimes 20 hours a week to help pay for our penthouse on the mountains. You know, I would get bullied at school. I didn't have a Lamborghini, so I made do with the 3 Camaros that my mother gave me. You know, it'd be a little bit rough sometimes. Sometimes the maid wouldn't clean the house, so I'd have to go do it, you know. And by that, I learned how to act, seeing this is my 5th award for Best Actor in the past 3 years.
Thank you, Joseph Smith, for that heart-wrenching recounting of the struggles of white privilege. When we return, more from the movie ceremony.
Pearls of wisdom.
Good evening. I'm Katie Marbury, here with Coach Bruce Pearl for a live-ish edition of Pearls of Wisdom.
Hey, y'all.
So, Coach Pearl, you have taken the university by storm, surprising students at Chick-fil-A, busting into classes with the marching band, all to build a good rapport for basketball season. If you were to be elected President of the United States, how would you take these same strategies to the American people?
I've got a message for you. Okay, I'm not sneaking up on anybody. I'm a guy that people are going to want to beat as badly as they're going to want to beat anybody, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You understand the challenges of that? Tell you what, we've got some incredible opportunities here.
Definitely, definitely. I agree. Our fearless leader, everyone. So, do you go to the movies a lot? I mean, it's award season, and what movies are you thinking of? What types of topics do you like to see in the movies?
Talking about the possibility of fever.
Definitely. Do you intend to see 50 Shades of Grey? I know that a lot of people on this campus will be very interested in this answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
don't know what time in the morning I got to get in and go home to earn that money, but I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to go to work every day trying to reward him for that.
So I'm going to ask a question that all of America wants to know. When you go to Chipotle, what do you get on your burrito bowl?
Ugly sweater t-shirt, new unwrapped toy, 1,000 bobbleheads of me.
Definitely. That's definitely the official food of Coach Bruce Pearl and sorority girls everywhere. So I just want to thank you, Coach Pearl, for being with us tonight. It's been great talking to you on another live-ish edition of Pearls of Wisdom.
War Eagle!
Oh, I didn't realize we'd finished our interview with Coach Pearl. Thank you so much, Bruce. I was just catching up on some of the local smut in the Auburn Plainsman. And if you do read the Plainsman, smut just means garbage, trash. But now that we finished our interview with Coach Pearl, we do have some breaking news for you. Directly from the Movie Awards, we have a special interview with three of the most talented men in the industry, Neil Patrick and Harris. Stay tuned.
What is going on, everybody? We are here at the backstage of the Movie Awards 2015, and I gotta tell you, it's a great time. I'm Neil. This is Patrick, and that's Harris, and we're gonna sit around and talk about what's going on, what everybody's doing for the day, you know, and what it's like for us to not have to host these. How great is that? First of all, let's talk about having no responsibilities. How great is that?
It's just phenomenal. I mean, we get to be at the biggest award ceremony of the year, and we don't have to do anything. We are here to be here.
And we get free booze. It's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, bouncing right off of that, like, being here, I don't even feel like an important guy, but, you know, we're here.
You're damn right, Harris. I mean, I don't even feel like you're an important guy.
Don't tell my wife
that. Women are for sandwiches.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Obviously, it's great to finally be able to not have to have responsibilities, and we obviously have free booze.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about how everybody doesn't give a crap about us, and they're more focused about which dress the girls are wearing?
I mean, it's who's wearing what, who's winning what, who's nominated for what, and that's all that's important on a night like tonight.
Yeah, and then there's guys like us that are backstage kicking it, talking about life, talking to the people, giving the people what they really want. They don't want a selfie with Ellen DeGeneres. They want this. This is what they want.
They don't want pizzas delivered. They want to sit down here with Neil, myself, Patrick, and my good friend Harris, and just sit here and enjoy every single second and everything that we have to say.
Could not agree with you more. You know, Harris, do you remember that story that you told us about how you once did cocaine with Lorne Michaels? I want you to tell that story again.
Ooh, well, back in the 90s, I was struggling with cocaine, you know, and then...
Weren't we all?
Struggling. I was enjoying myself.
But every time I catch a whiff of that powder, man, everything goes out from there.
Yeah, man. There was one time when I remember, because your girlfriend, now your wife, called me and said, hey, I found him in a sex dungeon, and he had needles in his butt, and I don't know what to do. I think we might have a problem. And I was like,
Might.
meh.
No.
Depends on your definition of the word problem. I think it sounds like he had a great night.
Well, Neil, it probably wasn't my finest hour, but that's pretty much what happens when you have the first gay host of the movie awards.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Back in good old 98.
98.
What a year. 2 years pre-Y2K.
3 years pre 9/11, but
Too soon, man.
nah.
Let's get back to the fun stuff. We got some movies. So, obviously, we were all involved in movies. Harris, Patrick, what movies are you proud of that you did this year?
Well, I did a combination of 2 films. All I did was pornography, and so there are shorter films in that category. And, anything sub 45 minutes is what we would call a short movie. Of
course.
And then we do have our full-length feature films. It just depends on, we had a lot of fun things. 5 is when I hit my peak. Won so many awards. It was such a phenomenal year. But I got to tell you, I really enjoy the shorter work because you don't draw it out. It's all about just, you can get it and get it done fast. And there's far less takes when it comes down to it. And so for me, it really is all about just keeping it really short.
For sure. And I know he's too humble to do it himself, but I just want to brag about Harris for a second. This man won his 3rd consecutive Golden Waffle Iron Film Festival Award for Best Acting. And, I mean, that just doesn't happen very often.
No.
You don't win 3 in a row. Hell, he was the first person to win 2 in a row. So, I just want
What's
to
it
say
like
congrats,
breaking down
man.
those boundaries?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't been sober in over a month, so I don't even remember acting in any movies. But I'll take all the awards I can get, man, as long as my wife stays around and doesn't leave me in that sex dungeon again, if you know what I'm saying.
Spoken like a true BDSMer.
It's like you in the 90s, Neil.
Oh, man, the 90s were good to everybody, except for my wrists.
But
Speaking of BDSM, how do you feel about these new BDSM movies coming out? Like 50 Shades of Black and all whatnot.
Yeah, well, after the first biography of my life came out, I said, hey, if you're going to do that, you need to pay me. And that was that. We'll be right back to talk a little bit more about, BDSM and sex dungeons in just a little bit. You guys keep watching the Movie Awards backstage with Neil, Patrick, and Harris.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of In the Jungle. If you liked what you saw here tonight, make sure that you tune back in the same place, same time next Friday. We'll be right here. And make sure that you tune into the Oscars. They're coming on this Sunday night. Make sure you watch with actual Neil Patrick Harris as your host. And just so you know, Neil Patrick Harris is my actual crush. And not just a man crush, my actual crush, because I am gay. But that's all for In the Jungle. Have a good night.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I,
Look at the screen. Anyways, so, all right, I've got to ask the question that I know all of America wants to know. Is it, I'm sorry, I'm blanking, sorry.
Party people, we are backstage at the Movie Awards. Oh boy. Oh boy, we're gonna die. We are.
I didn't have a question. I was hoping to get to the end of that sentence and have a question. All right.
Thank you, Joseph Smith, for that harrowing recounting of the struggles of white privilege. When we return, more from the movie ceremonies.
And in case you've been reading The Plainsman and you're unsure of what the word smut means because nothing in here is over 5 letters.
That's only 4 letters, that joke doesn't work.
I know, I just realized that.